So we've logged into our system now, but I don't have a user and I don't have all my favorite apps, window managers, and desktops installed. And also we haven't mounted and truly connected our second drive, VDB. So the first thing I'm going to do is clear the screen and I'm going to make a user for myself. So I'm going to type in user add -m Mench. Now I'm going to give Mench a password. PASSWD without the O and without the R. Mench. And I'm going to put Mench's password in. And I'm going to put it in again. And now I'm going to make Mench part of the sudo. So I'm going to type in vim etc sudoers. And I'm going to go down. And of course, most distributions and most people, when they want to make the user part of the sudo group, they make the user part of the wheel group and uncomment the line below for the wheel group. But I always do it this way because I like it better. So I'm going to copy this line and I'm going to paste it in and I'm going to delete. And I'm going to delete the word root and type in the word Mench. And I'm going to save the file and get out of there. Now I'm going to log out and log in as Mench. Let's exit and let's type in my username, Mench. Let's put Mench's password in. And now I'm going to make a folder called .config. mkdir.config. Now I'm going to download my GitLab repository. Git clone https://gitlab.com/artibus1/mench.git. And if I typed it right, it should come down. There you go. And if you're not able to remember this particular command is in the show notes of all my videos. cd into Mench, and I'm going to clear the screen. Let's ls it. And you can see I have all these folders in there. I have Arch, Debian, FreeBSD, Linux Mint, Ubuntu. And we're going to cd into the Arch folder. And I'm going to ls it. So now I have all these files and folders in here. And if you see on the far left, the second one down, it's called autoapp. I'm going to vim into it. Vim autoapp. And these are all the files I'm going to download. And this includes the Cinnamon desktop, the awesome window manager, Qtile window manager, Firefox, an ad blocker for Firefox, the full LibreOffice suite, rhythm box for your music, video players, all the codecs files that allows one to play music and videos, and all kinds of other apps. And of course, you're free to look at this and decide whether you want to use it. And also a firewall and so forth. So let's get out of here and let's run it. So I'm going to clear the screen and I'm going to run it by doing /auto. Hit enter. Asking for Mench's password. Put Mench's password in. Hit enter for default. And it's downloading all these files. This is going to take about 5 minutes, so I'm going to pause the video and come back when this is finished. Okay, so that took maybe 5 minutes. Wasn't that long. So now I'm going to clear the screen. So next, I'm going to cd back into Mench, ls it, cd into Arch. So next, I'm going to ls it again. Now on the far right, about the third one down, see there's a file called run configs. So I'm going to vim into it. And this is a file that runs configurations. It copies a few wallpaper and a lot of my configurations where I want them to be, like my configuration for the awesome window manager, the Qtile window manager, LightDM. It turns on and enables Bluetooth. It copies a configuration for LightDM. It also sets up my firewall. and so forth. So I'm going to run the file. I'm going to clear the screen and I'm going to type in --run. It's asking for my password and it's done. So now I'm just going to make sure my password is active, and it is. Now I'm going to reboot. I'm going to put my, I did the wrong password there. I'm going to type in my password. This is my encryption password for disk 1, because disk 2 we haven't finished setting it up yet. And now we're at the login manager. And of course I have Cinnamon, Qtile, and Awesome Window Manager. Now the Cinnamon, I'm not going to go into it and show you it in this video. And the Cinnamon, I don't have my own configuration file for it. So the Cinnamon in Arch Linux, in pure Arch Linux, and in pure Debian, the Cinnamon is really ugly and it has to be configured to look nice. But it's easy to do. It's all works in the GUI, and you can just go in and set your dark theme and change the theme for your icons and download the weather app and make it look nice. And I'm not going to do that in this video. And I've already done that in many of my videos, so I'm not going to do that today. But of course, we just downloaded and installed my Qtile configuration file and my Awesome configuration file. So I'm going to log into Awesome. I'm going to put my password in. And I'm going to hold down the mod key and hit the P. And I'm going to go to custom. And I'm going to set my dark theme. Materia dark. And I'm going to go to icon font and hit Papyrus dark. And apply it. Then I'm going to close it. Then I'm going to hold down the mod key and hit the P. And type in power. And I'm going to make it full screen. Let's display it. I'm going to turn off the power manager, or turn on the power manager. I'm just going to make it so my computer never goes to sleep and my screensaver never goes on. Now another thing I want to do is open a terminal. And I want to see if my Zesh configuration file is working. So let's type in Zesh. And it is. And let's see if it's working for root. Type in my password for root. Type in Zesh. It is. Now I'm going to make Zesh my default shell. So I'm going to type in this command vim etc password without the O and without the R. And I'm going to go to the end of the first line and change that bash to Zesh. Then I'm going to go down to Mench, the line where Mench is, and I'm going to change that bash to Zesh. I'm going to save the file, and I'm going to close the terminal, and I'm going to log out. I'm going to log back in, put my password in, open the terminal, and Zesh is my default shell. And let's see if root is my default shell. And root is my default shell. Now we got to go in and set up the, well, I'm going to open up a terminal. And we got to set up our second drive so it works properly. So I'm going to switch into root because it's just easier. Put my password in, cd, and I'm going to go down to vim etc Crypttab file. And I'm going to go to the bottom. I'm going to leave some spaces. And I'm going to type in my stuff. Tab it. Let's tab it again. Dev VDB1 none. And I'm going to save the file. Then I'm going to go into vim etc Fstab. And I'm going to go to the bottom. And I'm just going to leave a few spaces. And I'm going to type in this command. Dev mapper / my stuff. Leave a space / home, leave a space, ext4, and I do this wrong, sorry, slash my stuff, ext4, oops, tab, defaults, there we go. Okay, now I'm going to save the file. Now I'm going to reboot. And let's see what happens. So it's asking me for the encryption password for disk 1. So I'm going to type it in. Now it's asking me for the encryption password for disk 2. And notice when you're putting the encryption password in for disk 2, it has an echo. So if I type the password in right now, you're going to see an asterisk for every letter or number that I type. And if you don't want to see that, you can hit the tab button. So I'm going to hit the tab button. So if you notice it says press tab for no echo. I'm going to hit the tab button and it's going to be no echo. So I'm going to put my password in and let's go in. And it should take me to the login screen, and there you go. Put my password in and we're in. Now I'm going to make it so when we're booting into the system, we don't have to put the password in twice. That is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it so that when we boot into the system, we only have to put our encryption password in once. We don't have to put it in twice, like once for each disk. We're only going to have to put it in once, and then we're going to go to the login screen and put our password in, our user password at the login screen. Now, disk 2 is still going to be encrypted, but we're going to make a key and add a key to it. So what I'm going to do is open up a terminal, and I'm going to make a key for drive 2. Okay, so I'm going to type in this command. And you know what? I'm going to switch to root. And I'm going to cd down. And I'm going to clear the screen. I'm going to type in open SSL gen RSA dash out slash root slash lux key, leave a space 4096. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a key for disk 2. And hit enter and it's done. Now I'm going to LL it, and you see right here the lux key, which is the key I just created for disk 2. It's read and write. Well, we don't want it to be write. We want it to be read only, so it doesn't get changed or altered. So what I'm going to do is type in this command, chmod 400 slash root slash lux key. Hit enter, and now I'm going to clear the screen and I'm going to do LL, and now we can see our lux key is read only. It has the R there. It's read only, so we don't have to worry about it getting written over or altered or changed. Now we have to add that key to disk 2. So I'm going to type in this command. And I'm going to clear the screen. I'm going to type in this command, crypt setup. Oop, I should spell it right. Crypt setup lux add key dev vdb1 slash root slash lux key. Now notice that lux add key right here, it's all one word, and notice that the A for add and the K for key are capitalized. The A and the K are capitalized, and it has to be done this way. So let's hit enter, and it's asking for the passphrase that we created at the beginning of video 1 when we created our disk number 2 and formatted it. We encrypted it and gave it a password in video 1. So hopefully you watched video 1 before watching this video, because this is a part 1 and a part 2 thing that I'm doing. So it's asking for the passphrase. So I'm going to put my passphrase in there. and it's adding the key there. And it just takes a moment, and it's done. Now, we're going to have to change our Crypttab file and our Fstab file. Let's clear the screen, and I'm going to type in vim etc Crypttab. Hit enter, and what I'm going to do is go down to the bottom, and I type in this command: my stuff tabit slash dev slash vdb1 tabit slash root slash lux key. I'm going to save the file, and then I'm going to move this bottom one down to the bottom. Okay, so it's like that. So the first line here is, when we boot up, the first line is telling it to look for a key for drive 2. And when it finds the key, it's going to let us in without having to use a password for drive 2. But drive 2 is still encrypted. And if you don't have this key, and if this key fails, then it's going to ask us for the password. So drive 2 still has a password on it, but it's going to look for the key first. And if it sees the key, it's going to let you in without having to use the password. So I hope that makes sense. So let's save the file. Let's get out of there. Now, let's see if this works. Let's close this. Let's open this. Let's reboot. Hopefully it works. So it's rebooting. Let's enter. It's asking me for the encryption password for disk 1. And sorry about the small font. At this point, I can't make it bigger. So I'm putting my encryption password in for the first drive. And let's see if it's going to ask me for the password for the second drive, or if it's going to take me right in. And if I did it right, it should take me right to the login screen. And it worked. So drive 2 is still encrypted, and it still has a password on it, but because we have that key in there, it takes us right through. So that saves us from having to type the encryption password in twice. Now we just have to type in Mench's password here. And we're in. Now there's another thing I want to do, and that is, if we go to PCMan.fm, we don't see our drive 2 here. And if we hit here and go to directory tree and hit here, we see it here. Here's our drive 2. It's our 40 gig drive called My Stuff is right here. We open it up. Now, let's say, well, you know what I want to do? I want to move it. I want that to be in my home directory. So what I'm going to do is open the terminal, su into root, put my password in, cd. Let's go in here. Let's ls it and see if it's there. So there it is there, My Stuff. This is my 40 gig drive. So I want to move that into my home directory. And I do /home Mench. Now it's saying that the resource is busy. So let's try this. umount -l My Stuff. Okay, anyways, let's try running that command again. Okay, it worked. So let's go to workspace 5. Let's open up PCMan.fm. And there it is. Let's go back to home. And now Mench is in my home folder. Now let's try to copy a wallpaper to it. I want to show you what's going to happen. Oops. My Stuff. Paste. Oh, it won't let us do it. So what I'm going to do is close this. I'm going to open up, go back to my terminal. So now I'm going to clear the screen, and I want to go into my Fstab. I'm going to do vim etc Fstab, and I want to change this. I'm going to go to this middle part here, and I'm going to type in home /Mench /My Stuff. And I'm going to save the file, and now I'm going to reboot. And let's see what happens. Hopefully this all works. Let's hit enter. So it's asking for the, and I apologize again for the small font. It's asking for the encryption password for disk 1 or drive 1. So I'm going to put it in, hit enter. And it's decrypting drive 1, and it should automatically go into drive 2 because we have that key in there. And it should take me to the login manager. And there we are, we're at the login manager. Put my password in. And let's open up PCMan-FM. So we can get into it two ways. We can get into it here, click on there. Or we can go back to the home folder and we can click on my stuff folder here. And now we're in the 40 gig drive, the second drive. Let's copy, see if we can copy some wallpaper. Let's go here and let's paste it in. Oh, it's not letting us do it. So I got to go into here, Xterm, and I'm going to make it large. Let's su into root, cd, whoops, let's cd into home Mench. Sorry about that. Let's hit L, home by root. So let's do this command, down, Mench, colon, my stuff. Let's say no, let's LL. And now it's saying it's owned by Mench. So let's close the terminal. Let's go back to 1. And let's see if we can copy something over. Let's copy just one wallpaper. And it worked. So now I just want to reboot again and make sure this is all working. So we're just booting into the system again, and soon we're going to be done. So it's asking for the encryption password for drive 1. And we know it's working, so it's not going to ask me for the password for drive 2, even though it's encrypted. And it's going to take us directly to the login screen, or the display manager as it's properly called. Let's put my password in. Now let's go to PCMan-FM. And we can see my drive is attached. Let's open it up, and the wallpaper is there. Now let's see if we can copy some more wallpapers. Let's copy these two. I want to make sure Mench is still the owner of drive 2 and not root. Let's copy these two wallpapers, because we already have one wallpaper that we copied before the last reboot. Let's paste it in. And now it's letting us paste it in, because now Mench is permanently the owner of drive 2 rather than root. And we can, just to make sure it's stock, let's go and let's make it larger. Let's LL, and here's my stuff. So this is drive, and we can see it's owned by Mench. Drive, my stuff, is owned by Mench. And we can LL. Let's do lsblk. And here we see, we have it. Drive 1 is called crypt install. It's a 20 gig drive. It has a 200 meg partition for boot and a 19.8 gig partition for my installation, and it's called crypt install. And my second drive is called my stuff. It's a 40 gig drive. And here we are. And that's it. In this two-part video, I took my time and I went through it slower, hopefully, and I showed you how to do a manual install of Arch Linux with 2 drives, with both of them encrypted, and making it so that you don't have to put the password in for the second drive when we're booting into the system, even though it's encrypted, because we added a key. And I also took my time in part 1 of the video and showed you a different way on how to search for and find your correct locale, your correct location. So I hope these two videos weren't too long, especially part 1, because part 1 was an hour. And I hope you enjoyed the videos, and I hope you learned something. And if you did, please like it, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I am the Linux Mench.